Antionette Blake. I'm the owner, CEO, founder of A. Blake Enterprises, social media marketing and consulting. I work with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and what I like to call side hustlers to ensure that not only are they marketing on social media, but they are engaging with their target market audience in what I like to call an H to H manner, heart to heart. Because people don't go to social media to be sold to, they go to socialize. So I work with specifically encore entrepreneurs, those of us who are over the age of 50, who may have lost our jobs, been resourced, outsourced, but we're not ready to give up. We have a passion. We have something that we want to share with the younger generations. So we're going to build a business. But the way we market it is different. We still have newspapers, magazines, flyers, and billboards, and even bus stop, benches. But social media, that's where people are, because like Tiffany was saying, people don't trust products. They trust people. So you have to be the voice behind that product, that service. So as the owner of A. Blake Enterprises Social Media Management, that is what I do. But that's not my passion. This is my passion. I love speaking. I love engaging. I especially love working with college students. I received my BS degree in education back in 1983. I'm proud of it, whatever. From Delaware State University, which Delaware State College. And I am still giving back. So I go back and I talk to the young people, not only about their digital footprint, but also LinkedIn, what they should and what they shouldn't be putting on social media, and how to represent and brand themselves on social. And so that's going to tie into what we're going to talk about today, podcasting. Because I know this is BloggerWeek, and most of us are bloggers or writers, influencers, but you guys know what's happening in the podcast world. It's like radio reimagined. So we're going to go through why you should be thinking about adding or starting a podcast to build onto your brand or to create a brand. In May, go Bulldogs. Our oldest son, he's 27, he's intellectually disabled, but he attended a 2-year non-program degree at the University of Delaware for adults with disabilities. So he's working full, part-time at Home Depot. He's loving it, and they're just great.
My brother too.
Yep. And I've been married 29 years. 29 years, celebrate our anniversary. And we're about to move into our forever home. We're downsizing, so I can, gotta age in place. I'm getting old. I can't be doing all the McMansions. I'll leave that to y'all. So, but I've been blogging since about 2012, and I did it as a way to fill a void. After the death of my grandmom, who raised me, I raised her, and I was with her when she transitioned. And if you ever get an opportunity to hold the hand of a loved one that leaves this world, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I held her hand, and she left. But I found that after that, I had all this time. And a girlfriend of mine said, Tony, they call me Tony, my name is Antionette. Tony, the reason why you have all this extra time is because that meant you gave her all of your time. And she said to me, my grandma says, there's 3 things I need for you to do before when I leave this world. 1, give up that little habit. I smoked for 35 years. I don't know why, but I did quit in 2009. So I'm 10 years smoke free, so I gave that up. She said, I want you to go back to teach school. Now, I ain't going back in the classroom. Those kids are crazy. I'm sorry if y'all parents did this, but I hope you support the kids. I'm not going back into the elementary school. But guess what? I'm teaching again. I'm back in like at Del State, at Bowie. I'm doing things, I'm giving back. So, and I can't remember the 3rd thing my grandma asked me to do, but whatever that was. But I probably did it. So again, today, I'm going to talk to you about building your brand or building. Times came to me because they had heard that I had a podcast. My first podcast was 3 years ago. It was Social Media Sunday with the Delaware Blogger on AAU Teen Talk Radio. And the reason why they wanted a voice like mine is because they felt that their demographics was more than just millennials and kids. They found a lot of older adults wanting to relate to their kids on social media. So she said, hey, would you like to do a podcast every Sunday on social media? And I was like, cool. This is what I do. I eat, I drink, and I do this. So I started out live podcasting. Never podcasted a day in my life, but they gave me the password to get in. They did all the back end stuff. And I just got on and talked for an hour every Sunday. It was cool. But I bored myself after, I was like, wait a minute. I got to get people to call in. Let me do this a different way. So I started getting guests. And what I like to do is I like to showcase guests that are doing things positive in their own communities, and then interview them, and then I started asking them, how does social media work for you? So with that social media thing, and I did that for 3.5 years, and I loved it. I actually had people coming to me, asking to be on my show, and one thing that was said downstairs by Paulina was the power of LinkedIn. The power of LinkedIn. The power of LinkedIn. That's where you want to showcase your blog. Take those posts and repurpose them as articles. Always put your links to every post you ever write, as long as it's not fluff and stuff and anything like that. But put that on LinkedIn, because that's where people find you. And if you're using the hashtag, blogger, podcaster, you're going to get people coming to you, because that's what they're looking for. Facebook keeps changing so quickly, overnight. Literally, you look at the feed, and the next day you get up and it's something different. It's like, what the heck did they do? And then you see Mark in front of Congress testifying in suit and tie. Man, never wear suit and tie. You wear jeans and t-shirts. Come on, you're not even right? So LinkedIn is where you're going to want to, if you're a business, and you're all business owners here. A blog is a business is a blog, point blank, period. NPR, iHeartRadio, all the major players are moving and advertising on podcasts, because now, remember I said, people don't go to social media to be sold to, they go to socialize. And so podcasting is a way you're just talking without being salesy. I'm not going to get on my podcast and tell you to buy something for 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to be talking about topics that are of interest to my audience. So smart money is going there, and you know what? Spotify actually bought Anchor FM and Giblet for like $680 million. So they bought these free platforms. And if you're not on Anchor FM, you will be before you leave here, because that's a free platform. You load it on your phone, your Android, your iOS. You can start a podcast now, free. Somebody said to me last night, well, I wanted to do a podcast, but they say it costs money. Child, please. Free is my favorite F word, F-R-E-E. I did tell you I grew up in the 60s, in the projects in New York. That's me. I know free. You want to know free? Ask me. So, no. And then I said, I don't want to start free because I got to give it away. Whenever you're starting out to do something, start out slow. That's what Mr. Bronner said, right? Start slow. Free, how much slower is free, right? Now, if you got some money, and you want to give it to me, I'll start the podcast for you, all right? So if you want to do that, I'll take your money and no problem. But I want you to do it, because it's your passion, your purpose, and your product. Artificial intelligence, oh my God. Wi-Fi. Who remembers the day that you had to drive through neighborhoods to try to find a Wi-Fi access? You can drive and people would park in front of your house like, why are they out there? Because you had that antenna up there, that thing. Now Wi-Fi is everywhere. AI is everywhere. AI, artificial intelligence, in your watch, in your glasses. Now they're coming out with dog collars. So artificial intelligence, your refrigerator, your microwave, your TV, everything has artificial intelligence or Wi-Fi. So you can listen anytime, anywhere. You can pull down a podcast wherever you are. It's mainstream. Who has not heard the word podcast? It's radio reimagined. Listen to my podcast. Like I said, NPR, iHeartRadio, they're knocking heads trying to see who had the most podcasts on their station. And they ain't playing. They're the big dogs. They stomping with the big dogs. All right? Who's stomping? Who's about to start a podcast? The Obamas. Okay? So this ain't no joke. If they don't give it, you need to get it. Now that stuff ain't gonna be free. That platform's gonna be like, really. But your platform, you can start with the free. This is not a fad. This is not the future. This is now. But the demographics once was just high-earning white male men. I just read yesterday that the population, people that are now going to podcasts, are brown and black people. That's our demo. And podcasts to get the message directly to their customer. They're not even making television shows based on a podcast. They're turning podcasts into full-fledged features or Netflix series. I mean, this thing is exploding. And again, blacks and Hispanic doubled in 5 years. Now, we're not going to do just anything, just what you said. Right. We know. We're getting smart. We know. We know because there are things that we all have to say. There's not any person in this room, in this building, that doesn't have something to say, something to share. Because we all have history. We all know we may look the same, we may act the same, but there's something in our background that makes us different. Like you said, you're the gardener. You knew about collard greens before most of these people were even here on earth. So why is all of a sudden this plant-based food and these vegetables? I mean, hey, we've been eating plant-based foods forever, right? This ain't nothing new. Talk about it. Start a podcast about your gardening, because you know what? You said you don't see a lot of that out there. I bet you start a podcast about eating healthy and gardening tips. You'll hear a lot more about it. You'll hear a lot more about it. And you say, well, you know what? A lot of people are podcasting. No. There are over 500 million blogs out there. And y'all one of them. Some of y'all are on blogs, right? There are over 500 million YouTube channels. We probably got a couple of them in here. There are less than 1 million podcasts. Not episodes. There are millions of episodes, but there are less than 1 million podcasters. Less than 1 million. You're already here. Look at the opportunity that you have there. And you say, okay, so just think. When was the best time to plant a tree 10 years ago? It was 10 years ago. When was the best time to plant a tree now? Now. So when was the best time to start a podcast 10 years ago? 10 years ago. When was the best time to start a podcast now? Now. So don't let saying, there's a lot of people. Less than 1 million. Big number, but you have a voice. You have a voice. Marketing on you. When you're watching advertisements on television, when you're getting newspapers, when you're getting flyers in the mail and coupons, that's push marketing. People are pushing their product on you. When people go to download a podcast, they are pulling that content. They want to hear that voice. They want to hear that show. And they're doing it at their convenience. And we want to have control over everything that we do. We want to be able to watch what we want to watch when we want to watch it. That's why Netflix streaming is, out of control. We want to hear what we want to hear when we want to hear it. You used to be like there's a radio show that comes on at 10:30 or WBLS at night, the Quiet Storm, you had to turn it on. No. Podcast, you can pull it down and listen anytime, anywhere. You're completely in control. You could not be paying attention to me right now because you got buds in your ear listening to your favorite podcast, and I hope it's mine, if you are listening. But while you're walking the dog, while you're on the treadmill, while you're doing laundry, while you're supposed to be listening to your boss, your supervisor, by having a meeting, you're like, I ain't got time for this, girl. I'm listening to my podcast. So you can listen anywhere, anytime, whether you're on vacation, in the car, and again, artificial intelligence. Do you know that by the year 2020, every car that rolls off the assembly line is going to be autonomous? Meaning self-driving? Spooky, right? 2021, I'm sorry. 2021. Every car. All new cars. Okay? So that's scary, right? First, it's scary. I mean, you should be in control. But let's think about this. What are you going to be doing? You got to keep your eyes on the road. But you got a 20-minute, a 30-minute commute in D.C., an hour and a half, like I was in Delaware, with an hour and a half, like every day, 3 hours on the road. Instead of me trying to figure out what radio station, I'm just going to hit the infotainment center in the middle of my vehicle and pull down my podcast. And I can listen to entertaining podcasts, inspirational podcasts. If I just want to find a podcast where someone reads scriptures every day. I get up, I don't know what you do, and there's no judgment zone here, but I'm on social media all day, day. But I get up and I read the Daily Bread, I read my scriptures, and I write my gratitude journal. That's how I arm myself for the day. So wonder if I'm getting up late, maybe I can pull that podcast up as I'm running or going to get, I have a meeting I got to get to, but I can't start my day. So I pop those earbuds in and listen to that podcast, which is nothing but scriptures. So you can get any kind of content, anytime, anywhere. And you can listen anywhere. Anywhere. You can listen anywhere. Obviously, you want to pay attention when you're driving, but you can still listen anywhere. How many of us sends out our... You thinking you listen to him, and you be listening like, oh yeah, yeah, amen. You ain't listening to him. You listen to your podcast, and nobody knows, but you can put your hair down like this, right? Right? So again, the revenue. Again, getting back to that 2021, $1 billion minimum is expected to pour into the podcasting industry. Who doesn't want part of that $1 billion? Hands? Nobody wants that money?
Yeah, no,
I do. Because advertisers know. You already have your built-in audience as bloggers. So if you add that podcast, now you've just increased it. You've increased that audience. And you know sponsors want that. They want your audience. So again, visibility gets visibility. You've got your blog, you got your blog, you may have a YouTube channel, and you got your social media platforms. Just add a podcast. You got more visibility. Visibility gets visibility. Point blank, period. The more people see you, the more they trust, the more they know you, right? So now you're building up your brand. I said we all have passions. We all have a voice. We all have something to say. There are people out there that are waiting. I was talking to some young lady earlier. People want to hear your voice. I'm going to skip right down here to the bottom, and I'm going to go back up. Your podcast, your voice can literally change someone's life. Boom! That's powerful. How many people are suffering from depression, anxiety? Our young kids, they're committing suicide because they feel like people don't understand them. Your voice can change a life. That's power. That is power. You got something to sell? Paparazzi jewelry. I don't sell, but paparazzi jewelry, Mary Kay, Avon, your line of t-shirt, whatever. Create a podcast to promote your product or to build your memberships. Repurposing your blog and blog content. I take my podcast and I do my show notes and I turn that into a post. And then I add the tags and the URLs for my guests, because all I have 2 podcasts now. So the first one, Out and About with Antionette, is where I interview guests. So I have all their information, their URL, their website, and they talk about it. So that I turn that right every Wednesday. My podcast goes live at noon. By 2 o'clock, the blog post is up. So it's a marriage. Some people like to read. Some people like to listen. If I'm in the gym, it's really kind of hard for me on my little stationary bike to be scrolling. But if I'm listening to the podcast, I'm like, oh, okay, he sounded good. Let me go check out and get the information, so I can always go back. So repurpose. And if you've been blogging for any period of time, and you remember back in the day, when we first started blogging, nobody read anything. I blogged for 3 freaking months, 2 and 3 times a day, and didn't get my first comment for 3 months. Now, if you saw what I wrote, you probably say, I don't know why. But there is content that you may have written 2 years ago, and now you can turn it into a podcast series and repurpose it. You think somebody's going to say, girl, you wrote that in 2015. Because it's a whole different media, and now it's audio. So just, you got the content. You probably got so much content. And even if you don't have content, there are too many books, magazines, movies, things that's coming out every day that you can podcast. Guess what? You're becoming that social media expert, that subject matter expert. Y'all sitting here listening to me like, she know what she's talking about. Do I? But I've said it so many times. I believe it. How am I going to make you believe it? You don't know, right? You just met me. So, again, you're becoming that subject matter expert. I'm going to come start listening to you for something that you've said. Sounds right. So now, whatever the topic is, I'm coming to hear you because you're the subject matter expert. That's how you're building your brand. And again, going back to changing someone's life, just think about that. This world is filled with anger, anxiety, and angst, but that doesn't have to be that way. It's secular. We've been through it. I was a kid in the 60s. I saw it. And I tell the kids now, the millennials now, when I see them, I said, look, I know you're going through something, but don't think about yourself, because it's your kids that are going to change the world, not you. It's not going to be you. It's the kids that you have. So the foundation you lay, that legacy that you leave, is going to change the world. So don't be selfish about it. Get them on the right track. So, consistency is key. No matter what. You know the 3 C's of the blogger. Consistency is key. Most times, people only have a podcast episode once a week. And that's cool, because you see it's like that weekly, series. Be consistent in it. Why? Because once people start to follow you, they're going to be looking for you. Okay, so example, you and I have a coffee date every Saturday at 10. So I come to your house and I knock on your door and we go out and we have coffee and we chit and we chat and everything is cool, right? Next Saturday, I come over, I knock on your door and you don't answer. No chit, no chat. Okay? Third week, I'm knocking on your door again, you still don't answer. No chit, no chat. Do you honestly think I'm coming back on the fourth week? No, I'm going to chit and chat with you, because there's other places that I can go. So be consistent. And also, guess what? You just told everybody about Out and About with Antionette. You got to listen to her blog, girl. You got to check her out. She's every Wednesday at noon. So you told your friends to listen to my podcast. So now you start listening. And then the first time you hear it, like, I like this. And then you go back and it's like, she ain't there. And she ain't there. You ain't coming to me. You're going to say, why you tell me to follow that woman? She ain't even doing what she's supposed to be doing. It ain't me. So again, people are looking for you. And your reputation's on the line when you tell people to listen to my podcast. Upload them to Anchor and have them scheduled to go live. My podcasts that I've done, they're already scheduled for October and November. I'm working on December now. So they'll be ready, and I'll be done. New Year's Eve, I don't drink anymore, but New Year's Eve I could kick back and have a drink and be done because I'm already, it's done. So make sure that you are consistent because, again, this is a way to build onto your vision, your voice, your message, and if you like me, you like talking to other people. So it's your guests, right? You want to invite people on. And people, if you don't want to start, I'm going to give you this suggestion. Go to LinkedIn, do a search for podcasters, and reach out to them and ask them if you can be on their podcast. If it's in your niche. There are garden podcasters out there, and I will send you the name of the woman. Because we are always looking for guests. Why? Because it increases our audience. That pebble in the pond, and through the pebble in the pond and those ripples. So I invite you onto my podcast. You're bringing your audience with me because you're going to promote it, right? And they're going to want to listen to the podcast that you and I had because of you. But then they might like my podcast and tell their friends and tell their friends and so on and so on and so on. So if you're not ready to start your own podcast, find podcasters that are already out there and looking for guests. And you know what? Don't ever pay. If someone says, I charge you, say, you don't pay, and then you guys know you don't pay. So don't pay, all right? It's your brand. You stay true to your brand. Stay true to your personality. Do you, boo-boo, because you can't do me, and I can't do you. And like Tiff was saying, it'll come out in the wash. If I try to get up there and talk about da-da-da makeup, I don't know nothing about no damn makeup. It's gonna come out. I'm gonna be like, and okay, that's nice. It's not gonna happen. Do you, boo-boo. It's your passion. It's your voice. Remember, it's you. It's your legacy. How are you going to leave that legacy? And the great thing about podcasting is we know we got something to say. We all got something to say. We leave this conference, and everything that was talked about here is an episode. Every person that you make contact with is an episode. You can talk about, writer's block. That's easy, right? We blog. I'm like, what am I going to write about today? Okay. Anybody ever asked you what you want to talk about? What happened today, girl? You're at home, right? And the best holiday is coming up. The best holiday ever for families and friends is Thanksgiving, right? Y'all sitting around talking and da-da. Girl, how you make them greens and da-da-da-da-da. You know what? And did you hear that so-and-so and Uncle Charlie did that and he got married again? Because we always have something to say. We're always talking. So we'll never get talker's block. We'll get writer's block. But we will pick up a newspaper, magazine, a book, whatever. I'm like, I cannot believe. And you just go to your podcast. My podcast called, I can't believe she said that. And then you talk about, I can't, and then you ask people to, have you ever had that incident where you can't believe she said that? So podcast your personality. Do you, boo. Your content's got to be right? Nobody's going to listen to crap just like nobody's going to read crap, right? So your content has to be good. Think about, but how are you going to come across? Are you going to come across educational? Are you going to come across entertaining or inspirational? It's your voice. What works for you? Again, you can't do me, I can't do you. You got to do you, boo-boo. So how are you going to create the content based on that? And I have a schedule that I use, and when thoughts pop in my head. Consistency. Again, if you don't show up, if I just don't come up for coffee and you don't answer, I'm going to somebody else. And communities. Just like Facebook, blog groups, BloggerWeek, there's podcasting groups on everything. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and they're all there. Just find them, follow them, share. Again, you're building your community, and you're learning. That's the great thing. You're always learning something new. Your 3 Ps. Obviously, it's your passion, your purpose, and your patience. I'm passionate about what I do. Can you see it? Can you hear it? So I love it. It wakes me up in the morning. It puts me to sleep at night. When I think I can come and give a presentation, man, I'm like, boo, Kathy, tell you, I couldn't go to sleep. I'm up all early. I don't get up early. I don't get up early, but I'm up 6 o'clock. I'm all dressed, sitting on the end of the bed like a little kid. Okay, there we go. Is she up there? Because that's my passion. I'm ready to go. So whatever that passion is of yours, if it's hair, if it's makeup, if it's fashion, if it's travel, if it's plant-based food, whatever the heck that is, what's the difference between a vegan and a vegan and, I don't know. So create a podcast, talk about it, share. Because again, there's less than 1 million podcasts out there on it. So even as others, it's your voice they're coming after. Patience. Again, I just sat here and I told you, I blogged for 3 straight months. And never person. So I had to be patient. But why? Because I liked what I was doing. So don't get caught up on those numbers. How many listeners you got? How many, don't get caught up on that. It's your passion. It's your voice. It's that sign that fell down. But anywho, all right. But so whatever it is, it's your patience. You're going to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight unless you're really, really lucky. And I don't believe in luck. I believe in divine intervention. If God places it in you, His gift to us is life. Our gift back to Him is what we do with that life. So whatever you're going to do with it, do it and do it right. And I don't care. Don't get me wrong. I don't care. You can be Christian, Muslim, Jew, whatever. I'm Christian. My husband, my son's a Muslim. But we live great. We are equally yoked. Don't let nobody tell you that's on social media. Some people, I teach basic blogging classes, and some of my students actually are not on social media. So I tell them, you know what? Then send out an email, newsletter. Post it on the bulletin board, at church, in the grocery store, at farmer's market. Let people know that you have a podcast. Eventually they're going to tell other people if it's good. But again, you got to promote it on social media. You have to promote it on social media. And you can promote it on the gram. You can promote it on Facebook. Just grab that URL. You can grab the link. You can embed it. Again, repurpose your blog. Grab the embedded link. Put it right into your blog post, and people can read and press the button and hear it. And that's what I do. You got the notes, and now you can hear it. And then, that works well. Images. We have the attention span that less than a goldfish, right? 7 seconds, we're done. So you got to have those images, those memes, those boomerangs, You got to have something. So as I'm scrolling, again, phones are scroll. They may just scroll and scroll and scroll, but I want you to stop. So you can make audiograms, you can make visuals, you can make memes. Be creative with it. Make it yourself. Send out teasers. Again, I grew up in the 60s. When the television shows ended, they said, stay tuned, or coming next week, or coming tomorrow. Boom. So send out those teasers. Next week's episode, this week's episode, send out those teasers. Get people involved in what it is that's coming next. Because that FOMO, fear of missing out. People don't want to miss out. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And even if you're doing a giveaway or something like that, let people know that that's coming up. Again, repurpose your content into a blog post. If you get that writer's block, you've got your podcast, you can take the show notes and turn that into a blog post. You have that once a week. So at least now you only need to do 2 posts or 1 post a week, however you do it. So repurpose that into a blog post. Share, share, and share. Sharing is caring. I don't care if you put it out there once. Make sure you use Hootsuite, Buffer app, Promo Republic, Meet Edgar, Ask Suzy Q, whatever. Make sure you've got those links out there that is coming back. And especially during holidays, your feed should be so full on Thanksgiving Eve, when people are home, families are sitting around. Your stuff should be hitting like crazy because people are now sitting home and they're waiting for this stuff. Again, have fun. Do you, boo-boo, because you can't do me. Use Audiogram. This is my link, my referral link. If you want to take a picture of that, you can take a picture of that. I get a few credits. I don't get no money for it. But the Audiogram will take it, and you can put the picture in, and it's got the sound waves. It'll make the sound wave, and it'll transcribe for you as well. So it'll transcribe like the 30 seconds of your podcast. So you can do that. And again, that's another teaser as people are scrolling. Get your email information if you want, because I have a condenser mic here that I want to give away to somebody before the end of the day. And it looks like this. This is, I don't know how to pronounce this damn thing. An XO condenser mic. It's $20.99. No, it ain't expensive. But what I tell you, what I like, free, right? You want a bigger mic, get a bigger mic, but I'm giving away the $20. Right? So all I need from you is to subscribe to Out and About with the Delaware Blogger. It's on the flip side of my card. And before we end today, after Roll and Talk, I'm hopefully going to have that information. I'll be at the table, give me your information, and I'll give this away before I leave. And I really also have a second gift here. Because just like this pin where I put my telephone number on, when I tell you to put your telephone number on, well, I did my logo, my branding. Tiffany going to yell at me. Because I'm not consistent in my brand. Because I'm multidimensional, right? So I had these mugs made up with my old brand, which is the Delaware Blogger podcast. But now it's Out and About. So I'm going to give these away as well. Give one of these away. I'm going to take that back to Delaware. So again, the power of podcasting can change someone's life. Thank you so very much.